Hello everyone and welcome to I Know You Know, your one-stop knowledge sharing platform for all things careers, life after high school, as well as opportunities that are available to you. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. As you've seen by the title, this video is dedicated to debunking 10 myths about university. Now, university remains largely inaccessible to a lot of people and for a lot of reasons. But I believe one of those reasons is the preconceived ideas that people have about university and what space it is. And so this video hopefully debunks 10 myths that people think about university. Let's get into the video. Myth number 1. University is for those that are in the top 10 in their high school or those that have picked maths and science. This is a myth. A lot is said to encourage people to get high marks and to encourage people to take maths and science, but that does not mean that people cannot go into university. First of all, just because you're not in the top 10 in your class or in your high school does not mean that the marks that you're getting are not worthy of university. Second of all, university is a very diverse space, and this means that there's a range of courses and qualifications that are available to you, some of which don't require you to have done maths and science in high school. And so if you thought that you can't go into university because you didn't take maths and science, think again and have a look at the perspectives of the universities around you. Myth number 2, and this is a big one. Classes start at 11 and end at 1, and the rest of the time you have to yourself. That is a very huge myth, and I know a lot of us had this idea before university as well, because that's what we see in movies, you know. So first of all, some courses do expect you to be on campus all day. If you haven't checked out my story time of my time in university, please have a look and you'll see what kind of a day I had. But the point is, some courses you will be expected to attend and be on campus the whole day. There are those courses where you aren't expected to do this, some of which will start in the midday and end somewhere in the afternoon. But that does not mean that the rest of the time you should be spending doing whatever it is that you want. A lot of the time, these courses have short periods of contact time because it is expected for you to spend the other time doing your readings, doing your pre-readings, doing your tutorials, and any self-study work that is expected of you in that course. So don't go into university thinking that you'll be having classes for just 2 hours in a day and then the rest of the day you can laze around and shop and do whatever. I mean, some people do that, but that is not what is expected of you. Number 3, you get to choose all the courses or modules that you do. This is a myth. So when they put together a degree program or a qualification, there are expected courses that you are expected to do. And as much as some of these programs may have electives, there is a bare minimum amount of courses that you're expected to do. And for that reason, not every course or module will have been one that you've picked yourself. Number 4, we all have the same experience of university. This is a myth, both socially and academically. University is a space that's filled with a whole lot of people that come from a whole lot of backgrounds and also are exposed to a whole lot of different things, even in the time they are in university. So you'll find that you can have a very different experience from someone who's living in the same race as you and doing the same degree as you, simply because you're different people. And this is important to note because a lot of the times people like to compare themselves with the people that they are going to university with, or the people that are in the same race with, or the people that they are in the same class with. It doesn't mean that if you're in the same university, you have the same experience. Please keep this in mind. And this goes for academically as well. A lot of people struggle more than others in university, even though maybe you might have gotten the same results back in high school. Myth number 5. There are some people that are incapable of doing the courses that they were accepted for. I believe this is a myth, and I'll tell you why. When you're accepted for a certain program, it is expected based on your academic results and whatever other criteria was required of you to fulfill to be accepted in that course. it's expected that you should be able to complete the course. This means that if you aren't able to complete this degree choice or qualification, I believe that there are certain barriers that are standing in your way, and this has nothing to do with your ability to complete the course. These things could be either there's a language barrier, either you don't have good time management, your study skills are off, you may be having other issues that could be affecting your ability to learn, you could be having a very different or difficult time assimilating or getting used to the university culture. And these reasons go on and on and on and on. And some of the things are things that we do to ourselves, some of the things that happen to us, and some are things that are out of our control. But I believe that if you are struggling to do a course that you are accepted for, try and get to the bottom of the reason of why you're struggling to keep up with this course. Try to get to the bottom of this, and if possible, solve this. A lot of the people that complete their degree choice, they don't complete it because the whole thing was a walk in the park and they found it easy. But they complete it because when they face challenges, they find out what this challenge is and how to overcome this challenge, and are therefore, at the end of the day, able to complete their qualification. So keep this in mind. If you were accepted for a course, you should be able to complete it. If you're not, find out why. Number 6, you cannot follow your passions when you go to university. This is a very huge misconception about university. A lot of people believe that you go to university to study some random course that will help put food on the table and is not necessarily something that you're passionate about. This could not be further from the truth. You are able to marry your interests and the courses that you do. And the reason why people think that you aren't is that a lot of people remain unaware of what courses are available in universities. I think we all have a vivid memory of being in high school and asked what you want to study, and there being sort of like top 5 or so careers that always come up as things that you can do in university. And this leaves everyone who isn't interested in those things feeling like for them to be in university, they'll have to pick something that they're not passionate about. This could not be further from the truth. You have a lot of people doing a whole lot of things that they're interested in, whether it's in the arts, in the science faculty, in the law faculty, in the humanities faculty. Chances are, whatever you're passionate about, there is a university or a higher learning institution that can help bring you closer to fulfilling your passion. So don't think of university as the place you go to do things other than what you're passionate about. And as much as possible, I'd actually encourage everybody to pick something that they're passionate about when they go study further. I believe this helps when you're going through challenges if you're actually doing something you're interested in. Myth number 7, those who went to fancy schools perform better in university than those who did not. This is a myth. Now, while we cannot deny the fact that a lot of high-paying schools offer a lot more privileges. For example, I know in my first year of university, specifically in math, my classmates who had either gone to IEB or gone through the Cambridge system were already familiar with topics such as integration by parts, differentiation, and a whole lot of other concepts that we learned in university. Now, obviously, this means that they had the upper hand in understanding these concepts in first semester. However, even though these kinds of privileges exist, that's not all there is to the university experience. And you find that as time goes, it doesn't matter what kind of school you were in, unless of course if there are other huge barriers such as language, etc. But you'll find that as time goes, the strongest students are not necessarily those that went to fancy schools. There is space to learn in university, there's space to improve in university, and even though you might have not had privileges walking into university, there's definitely the opportunity to improve and to be better and to excel definitely exists and is available for everybody. Tip number 8, only ask for help later or when you know what you need help with. Now, a lot of people fall victim to this, and I believe I was one of them as well. You go to a lecture, and when you leave the lecture, you don't quite understand what was being said in the lecture, or you don't quite grasp the concept. And instead of asking for help sooner rather than later, you feel like, let me first try and tackle this on my own and then I'll ask for help. Now, while that's a good approach, because it is a good strategy to try and figure something out by yourself before you ask for help, but you'll find that with the fast pace of university and the copious amount of work in university, there's not a lot of opportunity to catch up and reread and go over something several times for you to get it. And for this reason, I'd advise anyone who feels like they are not understanding or that they do not quite get what's going on, ask for help sooner rather than later. I believe that by showing that you are willing to learn and that you want to actually understand, a lot of tutors and lecturers will actually assist you. Myth number 9. The study methods you used in high school will be able to carry you through university. This is a myth. The reason I say this is, first of all, you're not dealing with the same amount of work. So you'll find that university, you go through quite a lot of work in a very short space of time. Secondly, the level of difficulty of the work is also different. And it is important that you go into university, yes, understanding that I have these methods that help me get whatever marks in high school. And even though I trust in these methods, I'm going to go into university open to learning new methods, open to responding to what is required of me, and therefore acting accordingly. Please be as adaptable as possible when you go into university. And you need to be aware of this going into university so that you know when a method is not working to change it as soon as possible. Myth number 10, you are your marks. Now, I understand why a lot of people feel that this is the case. A lot of the times in high school, the way you are measured is through the marks that you output, is through the marks that you produce. And this is incorrect, I believe, even in high school, because I just believe as people, we are more than just our marks. So even if you're in high school, you are not your marks. But more importantly, in university, some people have a difficult time adjusting to the university space, and you find that the marks that you get are not a reflection of, firstly, your understanding or your intelligence or how capable you are of completing the course that you're doing. So be wary of using your marks as the only metric of how you're doing and how well you're coping in university. Broaden your horizon as far as your criteria goes of assessing your development. Look at how's your social development going. How is your development in other areas going, such as are you doing extracurricular activities? And also be wary of the fact that so many things go into your mark. Sometimes you really just have a bad test, or you're having a bad day on the day that you're testing, and then you end up getting a really bad mark. But that does not mean that you are not smart enough or good enough or capable of completing the degree choice you're making. It's totally a myth. You are not your mark. Remember that. There you have it. That was 10 myths about university. I hope that this helps you and helps challenge some of the ideas you had about university. And if you know of any more myths about university, please feel free to put them in the comment section below and let us all unlearn, relearn over and over again until a point that we become the best versions of ourselves. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please don't forget to share this with people you think will benefit from this. Thank you so much. Goodbye.